Hello, everyone. Good day. This is our last lecture for the topic on fungal diversity. So basically, at this point, we were now able to touch about the general features or characteristics of fungi and also map out the major groups of classification and their salient features. And to wrap up this lesson, we are going to talk about the importance of fungi as well as the participation of human activities in their effect to fungal diversity, no, yung ating anthropogenic factors. Okay? So, of course, alam natin na yung gamitin ko muna yung picture no for reference. We have been talking about this mycorrhizae, no, which is basically fungi and then plant root system association. And you can see in the picture, no, asan kaya sa dalawa dito yung may mycorrhizae? Okay? By looking at the vegetation, no, it seems that mas marami yung tumubo dito sa left, no, on your screen kumpara dito sa right. And that's because of this mycorrhizae, no, yung parang filament dito. These are basically mycelia, the mycelia of the fungus that are that tawag dyan, that help in the nutrient absorption of these plants right here. Again, in a way, no, if we try to look at this perspective, the plant would provide carbohydrates that is needed by the fungi to grow, and in return, the fungi would supplement minerals and nutrients to the growing plant. So, ayan. And there have been a lot of empirical data to back up this claim, okay? So we are going to look at some of these importance, so and as well as also some of the threats, no, that's coupled when we talk about fungi, no. So fungi as decomposers, we know that these organisms are important players in nutrient cycling, ano, and many of ecological interactions take place because of fungi, no, and uh, and human welfare in totality. Okay, so they are well adapted to decompose in decomposing organic matter like that of cellulose and lignin of plant cell walls, you know. And in fact, almost any carbon-containing substrates can be consumed by fungi. And just try to imagine a world without decomposers, not just fungi, including bacteria and archaea as well, you know. Without these decomposers, ibig sabihin, these organic matter would remain tied up with what it is, and it will not be used by other organisms, so it will deter nutrient cycling. So thanks to fungi for that. Okay, and we have been talking about mutualism with fungi, you know, like for example in fungus plant mutualism, and it is believed that all plant species studied to date appear to have at some point symbiotic endophytes. It can be a fungi or bacteria that live inside the leaves or other plant parts without causing harm. Okay, and fungi in nature have formed mutualistic relationships not only with plants but other photosynthetic entities like ating algae and cyanobacteria, as in the case of lichens. Ano? So most fungal endophytes identified to date are asomycetes, yung ating sac-like fungi. Fungal endophytes benefit certain grasses and other non-woody plants by making toxins. So ito naman, it's other than providing nutrients and minerals for the growing plant, some endophytes can produce toxins that deter herbivores from growing. So kapag walang herbivores, it would increase host plant tolerance to heat, drought, or heavy metals. Okay? And this is just this is a screenshot from the textbook. Ano? This is basically an experiment on the effect of endophytes to a particular plant. Like you have in here the leaf mortality with this one is when endophyte is not present, and then when both the endophyte and pathogen is present. And you can see, no, kahit walang statistical analysis, we can see a marked decrease in leaf mortality when both endophyte and pathogen are present as compared when pathogen was only present and then wala siyang endophyte, wala siyang mycorrhizae. Okay? That goes the same, no? This is further corroborated by the data on the leaf area that's damaged. So nung walang mycorrhizae, what happened? That's around 15% pero naglower to around to almost half, no? 7.5% when yung leaf area damage when mycorrhizae was present. So the conclusion in here says that um, fungal endophytes, particularly of this woody flowering plant, play an important role not only in nutrient uptake, not only in deterring herbivores, but also a role in defending against plant pathogens. So there's a lot of benefits that these mutualistic relationship between fungi and photosynthetic organisms, in this case a plant, confer. Okay? So that's for fungi and plant mutualism. Meron din namang fungus-animal mutualism that's been recorded. So this one, what I like about this is the fungus gardening insect. Yung story, basahin ko na lang muna. Some fungi share their digestive services with animals, helping them break down plant materials in the guts of cattle and other grazing animals. So this is for higher animals. No, this is the case of mammals. Okay, like yung fungal gut that's found in cattle and other grazing mammals, because they have to break down this lignin and cellulose from the plant material, which can be achieved by fungi, then they become beneficial in that sense. Ito naman yung tawag dyan yung farmer ants, no, yung fungus gardening ants. What they do, these are leaf cutter ants, no. They search for leaves, but they cannot actually eat these leaves. What they do is they only build this up, carry this back to their nest, and feed to the fungi. So after you can see this in this picture, no, sa taas, kinat nila yung leaf and then nilagay nila back to their nest, and you see what happened. Nagkaroon na ng white material that's growing, no? And this is signifies fungal growth. Now, as the fungi grow, their hyphae would develop into these specialized na tips na rich in minerals like nutrients rather, like proteins and carbohydrates. And in this in the simple form, the ants would feed primarily on these tips, you know. And not only the fungi break down these plant leaves into substances that these leaf cutter ants can digest, these fungi also detoxify yung inherent na plant defensive compounds that would otherwise kill or harm the ants. So two-way siya. Okay? It helps digest these complex substances found in leaves into simpler form that can be readily digested by ants, and at the same time, fungi detoxify rather yung defensive compounds that's found in these plants na kung absorb ng ants would kill them or harm them in some point. Okay? So this is a form, acute, I think I would say acute na form of fungus animal mutualism. Okay? And it is believed that fungi and these leaf cutter ants have become so dependent that in many cases they can no longer survive without each other, and vice versa. Okay. Another form of fungus animal mutualism is what we mentioned a while ago, yung lichen. Lichen is a symbiotic association between a photosynthetic organism. It does not have to be a plant. There are also cyanobacteria and even algae, di ba? Yung ating photosynthetic proteins, no? Which are held in a mass of fungal hyphae. So what dictates the physical features of the lichen is actually the fungi. Okay, and lichens grow on the surfaces of rocks, rotting logs, trees, and roofs in various forms. And the photosynthetic partners are can either be unicellular or filamentous na green algae or cyanobacteria. So if you have cyanobacteria or algae in the middle, it is surrounded by the hyphae of the fungi. And gaya na sinabi ko kanina, no, yung fungus yung nagdedictate. It gives the lichen its overall shape and structure. And we have three variations of lichen growth forms. If a lichen is shrub-like, like in this picture, mura siya guso, no? That's fruticose. If it's leaf-like, gaya nito, mura siya kalabo, that's foliose. And if it's parang crusts, okay, encrusting, that's crustose. And usually yung cells ng algae or cyanobacterium would generally occupy the inner layer. No, it's usually in the inside below the lichen surface, and on the outside will be the hyphae of the fungi. Okay, and if you have been to like mountainous areas, it is believed that lichens are parang air pollution siya na sensors. This is because lichens are efficient at acquiring nutrients and moisture. And therefore, they can survive in areas where there is ample supply of these nutrients and moisture. So they improve the soil, and thus, especially if they are on crevices and on rocks, no, because they help in the weathering. So they add to the soil, thus making it suitable for plants to invade the area. So just try to imagine if merong pollutants in an area, no? So in that way, it also sequesters these pollutants, which is why it would be difficult for lichens to grow on areas with very high pollution, no? Particularly air pollution, with very high particulate matter that's in the air. Okay, so that's for the fungi, animal, and mutualism, ano? Another one drawback of fungi is that it's associated also as being parasitic. Okay, there are known parasitic fungi that can absorb nutrients from the cells of living hosts, but they do not provide no benefit in return. So parasite, typical na definition of parasite. And some example of this is the Ascomycete claviceps purpurea. Ito yung purple, no? Purple na structure na to called ergots. These ergots on rye, if na-mill siya into flour, would carry with it the toxins from the ergots, which can cause ergotism. So ergotism is a disease that's characterized by gangrene, yung nervous spasms, burning sensations, hallucinations, and temporary insanity. So ganun yung mga possible niya na possible niya na health na mga tawag dyan na risk. And of course, in the agriculture, if you have here is a corn smut, no? Of course, yung market value ng ganito would decrease, or to the point na hindi na siya pwedeng mabenta if ganito, di ba? Nobody would want to buy this kind of corn unless siguro pag-aaralan nila in that matter. Okay? And that's for plants. For animals naman and higher organisms, there are recorded fungi, parasitic fungi, no? Like yung parasite yung na mention natin early on, yung Batraco Chytrium dendrobatides, which has been implicated in the decline of frogs and other amphibians in a given freshwater. I think that's somewhere in the United States. I forgot where exactly. And what this chytrid does is that it causes severe skin infections, which leads to massive die-offs. So when there are lesions, alam natin na kapag may lesions, it will be an entry, no? There will be secondary viral, bacterial infections. Like in this one, when this bursts open, then magkakaroon ng wound, and then this wound will now be open for other opportunistic pathogens to infiltrate. So because of this, nagkaroon ng massive die-offs. So again, let me just reiterate, no, hindi naman kinakain yung freshwater na frogs na to and other amphibians. It's just that their decline also equate to change in the balance in the ecosystem, di ba? Yung kinakain niya mas dadami kasi nawala yung frog population, at yung mga nakadepend sa frog na to will most likely prey on other food sources, so which will also affect other food webs. So ganun yung parang, that's how we look at the paradigm, no? When we look at ecology in totality. Okay? And the general term for an infection in an animal by a fungal parasite is mycosis. Okay? And that's for amphibians. Meron din naman for human, no? If you are familiar with uh, tinea, tinea is basically a name of diseases, of a group of diseases that's caused by fungus. Okay? So, typical examples nito, nasa picture, no? Medyo katultanaw, no? Ringworm, meron din tayo nung athlete's foot, jock itch, yung sa singit, di ba? These infections are usually, hindi naman siya serious, but they can be uncomfortable if they are left untreated. And it's usually acquired when we touch an infected person or an area, usually from damp surfaces like yung singot, di ba? Shower floors, or even from your pet, gaya nung nasa module, yung sa cat, di ba? Yung sa nose ng cat, yung nasa example, ano? So yung sa akin, yung nilagay ko dito was, for example, ringworm, intense itching and blisters. And these are highly contagious upon contact, ano? And yung maganda naman for fungal infections, because it's not hindi siya not that serious, it's not that serious, because infections can be treated with fungicides. Like you have yung Nizoral cream, di ba? Yung mga ganun, yung powders, lotions, all of these sorts. Okay? It basically hinders fungal replication. Okay? There are other more serious na fungal diseases like this one. No? Systemic mycosis would spread through the body and usually cause very serious illnesses. And this is usually caused by inhaling these spores. So, say, for example, coccidio, 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 coccidiomycosis. That's coccidiomycosis. I should correct this one. Coccidiomycosis. Kaya parang nahihirapan ako magbasa kasi mali yung dito. Coccidiomycosis. It's a systemic mycosis. Ibig sabihin, it affects one organ to another, no? And it produces these tuberculosis-like symptoms in the lungs. And some mycoses are opportunistic. So, this one is very common in ako nung bata ako, nakatry ako, nagkaroon ako nito na yeast infection yung sa dila. Okay? It's one of the normal inhabitants of the moist epithelia, like for example, vaginal opening, the oral cavity, and opportunistic siya is ibig sabihin if the immune system is compromised, say for example, people with HIV or those people na may sakit, may predisposing conditions, like nagkasakit siya, nagka-fever, flu, so na humihina yung immune system. So that's the time na nagiging opportunistic, no, dumadami sila uncontrollably. Like a classical example for that be Candida albicans. Okay, like you can have like in any parts of your body with moisture, no, like dito dila. This is throat. I'm not sure other but openings for this one, and also dila, no, and they can grow rapidly if left untreated, leading to the so-called yung ating yeast infection. So all of these are the importance of fungi alongside the drawbacks, ano, yung associated na diseases caused by these organisms. Okay, so meron talaga siyang always positive and negative side. So as a summary for our lesson on fungal diversity, you can just read this one. I don't need to read this one by one. I hope this recording will help you in your review and in your exam and assessment preparations. Okay, so God bless everyone. Bye bye.